Uh, Hey, good afternoon. Can I get a confirmation if you're able to hear my voice and see my screen? I'm currently sharing screen. Hey, John Luis, good afternoon. Yay. Uh, Thanks very much, Jay. And then I'm going to play an audio. Let me know if you're able to hear it as well.
Cloud networks allow businesses to access, store, and manage data and applications over the internet rather than on local servers.
Yeah, I played an audio in the last 10 seconds. Kind of advise if you. Yeah, okay, thanks, Rachel. Okay, in the meantime, let's wait for the others to join in. We have 55 participants. Okay, 88, let's give the others some 5 minutes more, and then we'll start. Okay. Okay, let's start. As with the second part of my lecture series, thanks, Rochelle.
Recording in
As with
progress.
the second part of my lecture series, so we will be focusing on cybersecurity. And for this session, it would be more on cloud security. When we say cloud, this mostly refers to the cloud hosting providers. We have Amazon, we have Google, and then we have Azure, among other hosting providers out there. Okay. For this session, I have 6 sections for it. First would be a quick intro on cloud network security. Then we'll go through the key concepts for securing, securing the cloud. Then we'll go through unique and common threats for cloud hosting. On the fourth section, we'll go through the tools and techniques that you can use on how you'd be able to secure your infrastructure, as well as monitoring and then the compliances that you would want to at least adhere to on the fifth. And lastly, it would be best practices. Now, similar to the other sessions that we had, if you have any questions or clarifications, don't hesitate to post them over the link at Google, slice.up.google, or you can post them in the Zoom chat as well. Okay.
Cloud networks allow businesses to access, store, and manage data and applications over the internet rather than on local servers. This technology provides flexibility, scalability, and cost efficiency, enabling businesses to quickly adapt to changing demands. Now, sample of your cloud providers or cloud networks would be AWS, GCP, or Google Cloud, and Azure. As a result, many organizations now depend heavily on cloud networks to support daily operations, to secure their data, and facilitate collaboration across global teams. And this is where cloud network security comes in. Cloud network security is the practice of safeguarding data, applications, and services hosted in cloud environments from unauthorized access, data breaches, cyber attacks, and other potential threats. As organizations move their operations to the cloud, traditional on-premise security strategies are adapted to secure the cloud's flexible and distributed architecture. In this context, cloud network security involves a combination of policies, technologies, and controls that protect the integrity, confidentiality, and availability of resources in public, private, or hybrid cloud setups. Now, why is cloud network security important? First, it protects against cloud-specific vulnerabilities. Cloud environments are unique in that they operate on shared infrastructure, meaning multiple clients or tenants may be using the same underlying hardware and software resources. This introduces specific vulnerabilities such as the risk of side-channel attacks, where cybercriminal exploits a security flaw to access another tenant's data. Proper cloud network security helps mitigate these risks by ensuring tenant isolation, rigorous access controls, and implementing security protocols like network segmentation. These measures prevent unauthorized users from accessing sensitive information, even within a shared environment, which is critical as cloud adoption grows in sectors handling confidential or proprietary information. Second, It ensures compliance with privacy laws and industry regulations. Data privacy and security regulations such as GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation, HIPAA or Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. This one is for health. And Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard, PCI DSS, impose strict requirements on how data is handled, stored, and protected. Non-compliance with these regulations can lead to legal repercussions and heavy fines. Okay. Third, it maintains trust and reliability, especially for organizations managing sensitive information. For organizations that handle sensitive data, such as banks, healthcare providers, or government agencies, trust and reliability are paramount. Customers and stakeholders rely on these organizations to keep their information secure, and a data breach or security incident can quickly erode trust, leading to customer loss and reputational damage. Cloud network security safeguards data and operational continuity by preventing unauthorized access, data leaks, and downtime due to cyber attacks.
Okay, that was a quick intro for cloud network security. Now we're moving on to some of the key concepts. This one is some of the key concepts for cloud security, and you'd mostly hear this whenever we're talking about the topic.
Confidentiality, integrity, and availability serves as the foundation of cloud security, ensuring data is protected, accurate, and accessible when needed. In cloud environments, these principles require unique considerations due to shared infrastructure, remote access, and a distributed network of resources. Confidentiality. In the cloud, maintaining confidentiality involves implementing strong encryption protocols and robust access controls. Encryption ensures that the data, both at rest and in transit, remains unreadable to unauthorized users. Access controls such as MFA, multi-factor authentication, and role-based access control or RBAC limit data access to only those with proper permissions. This is essential for preventing data leaks or breaches, especially in environments where multiple clients share infrastructure. Confidentiality is particularly crucial for sensitive data like personal information, financial records, and intellectual property. Integrity means ensuring data integrity in the cloud, protecting information from unauthorized alterations. If confidentiality is prevention of access, integrity is protecting from unauthorized alterations. Techniques like checksums, hashing, and version control help verify that data hasn't been tampered with, whether during transfer, processing, or storage. Integrity controls can also include logging changes, which allows organizations to track modifications and detect any unauthorized alterations. In cloud services, secure APIs and automated monitoring systems can flag suspicious activities or alterations, preserving data reliability and accuracy for critical applications. The last of the CIA triad is availability. Availability in the cloud means ensuring that data and services are accessible whenever needed, often achieved through redundancy and failover strategies, your backups. Cloud providers offer high availability by replicating data across multiple geographic locations, so even if one server or region goes offline, data remains accessible from another. Automated backup and recovery systems further support availability by protecting against outages, hardware failures, and data loss. In cases of sudden demand, scalability features like auto-scaling enable cloud resources to expand, preventing downtime and ensuring users always have access to essential services. Each aspect of the CIA triad is essential in cloud security, helping organizations protect data, maintain reliable service, and meet compliance requirements. Here are some additional concepts in cloud security that you will hear over and over. First is multi-tenancy. In cloud computing, multi-tenancy means that multiple customers or tenants share the same computing resources, such as servers and storage within a cloud provider's infrastructure. To protect each tenant's data and applications from unauthorized access by others, cloud providers use isolation measures like virtual private clouds or VPCs, data encryption, and secure access controls. Effective multi-tenancy ensures that one tenant's security issues do not impact others, which is critical for maintaining confidentiality and integrity within a shared environment. This approach allows for resource efficiency and cost savings while minimizing the risk of cross-tenant breaches. Now, second is elasticity and scalability. Elasticity and scalability allow cloud environments to dynamically adjust resources based on demand. Elasticity refers to the automatic adjustment of resources, increasing or decreasing based on workload fluctuations, while scalability is the capacity to expand or reduce resources to accommodate long-term growth. While beneficial, these changes can complicate security management because security controls must adapt to the new resource configurations in real time. For example, as new instances are added, assume instance as a server. As new instances are added, security policies, firewalls, and access controls need to extend to these instances automatically to prevent potential vulnerabilities. Proper security practices such as automated monitoring and continuous security posture assessments ensure that as resources scale up or down, security measures remain effective. The last, and this is common with any cloud provider, there is the shared responsibility model. The shared responsibility model in cloud security clarifies the division of security responsibilities between the cloud provider and the customer. Cloud providers are responsible for securing the infrastructure that runs services, including physical security, network infrastructure, and the hypervisor layer. Customers, on the other hand, are responsible for securing implement data encryption, user authentication, and proper access controls on their applications and workloads. Understanding this model is crucial for cloud users to avoid security gaps and ensure that both parties fulfill their roles in protecting the cloud environment.
Before I proceed to the threats, are there any questions or clarifications relating to the concepts? None. Okay. Then we'll proceed to the threats.
With the general adoption of using cloud storage or cloud networks, it has now become susceptible to threats. Here are some of the threats that are unique to the cloud environment. First is misconfigured cloud storage. Misconfigured cloud storage is a common threat in cloud environments where improper settings can lead to sensitive data being accidentally exposed to the public. But do note accidentally. This can happen when storage permissions are set too loosely, allowing unauthorized access to files and data. For example, a misconfigured storage bucket if we're talking AWS, this would be S3, might be publicly accessible, enabling everyone with the link or access to the service to view, download, or modify data. Such vulnerabilities can lead to severe data leaks, affecting organizations' reputations and violating data privacy regulations. Addressing this issue requires consistent monitoring, regular configuration audits, and the implementation of security best practices to ensure only authorized users have access to sensitive data. Second is insecure APIs. APIs, or application programming interfaces, are essential for cloud services, enabling applications to communicate and exchange data. However, when APIs are unprotected or poorly managed, they can become a weak point that attackers exploit. Insecure APIs may lack proper authentication, encryption, or rate limiting, leaving them vulnerable to attacks such as data exfiltration, injection attacks, and unauthorized access. Since cloud providers and users often rely on APIs to manage resource services, and perform regular security assessments on all APIs. Third is account hijacking. Account hijacking occurs when attackers gain unauthorized access to user accounts in the cloud, which can have serious consequences, such as data theft or service disruption. In cloud environments, user accounts often have access to critical resources and sensitive information. So if these accounts are compromised, attackers can exploit them to perform malicious actions, modify configurations, or worse, steal data. Common methods for account hijacking include phishing, weak passwords, and credential theft. Mitigating this threat involves using multi-factor authentication, MFA. This is something that we've discussed in the prior weeks. Enforcing strong password policies and implementing monitoring tools to detect unusual login patterns or activities that may indicate compromised accounts. And last among the threats that I've listed here is data loss. Data loss in cloud environments can occur due to the absence of proper backups, inadequate data recovery processes, or unexpected service outages. Since cloud providers manage the underlying infrastructure, there can be a misconception that data protection is fully their responsibility, but in reality, data integrity and recovery measures often fall under the customer's control. Data loss can result from accidental deletion, ransomware attacks, or system failures, and if there are no reliable backups, it may lead to permanent data loss. To mitigate this threat, organizations should regularly back up critical data, implement data redundancy strategies, and ensure robust recovery plans to restore lost information promptly. Now, each of these threats emphasizes the importance of diligent security practices, continuous monitoring, and a clear understanding of the shared responsibility model in cloud environments. Beyond these, there are other traditional threats affecting the cloud. I've introduced these to you in the previous sessions. First is malware, wherein malwares can still target cloud environments, especially through data sharing apps, like when you share a virus-infected file, a PDF, or a document via email, and then that has not been properly scanned, and that document is uploaded to an organization server or a business server. That's a potential entry point. That's one. And then the other is DDoS attacks, or distributed denial of service attacks, wherein it overwhelms cloud resources, impacting its availability.
Okay. So those would be the threats that I've listed. Some are unique to cloud, and then the others are, yeah, the traditional ones, the common ones, which mostly affects actually almost any. Any questions relating to this? Or is there anything, or any clarifications? Just a quick insight on APIs. Whenever we are talking about integrations, or whenever we are talking about a platform talking to another platform, in most cases, they will be doing so via APIs. This is especially true in inter-platform communication, let's say from one website to another, wherein APIs are being exposed. Okay. No questions relating to threads? Then we'll move on to tools and techniques.
To ensure data protection and prevent unauthorized access, cloud environments employ various security tools and techniques. These methods focus on establishing secure, isolated networks, restricting access to critical resources, protecting sensitive data through encryption, and adding extra verification steps to prevent account compromise. By implementing these tools and techniques, organizations can create a robust, secure framework, significantly reducing the risk of data breaches and other cyber threats. Now, first would be virtual private cloud, or VPC. Uh, you can treat VPC as isolated virtual networks. A VPC allows organizations to create isolated virtual networks within a shared cloud infrastructure. This isolation helps prevent unauthorized access by keeping specific cloud resources separate and private. Now, another thing that the VPC does is it supports network segmentation, where parts of the network can be separated into smaller, isolated segments. By doing so, this limits data exposure by ensuring that even if one segment is compromised, the attacker cannot easily access other parts of the network. VPCs help businesses create secure zones within the cloud for better control over their data and applications. Next is identity and access management, or what we refer to as IAM. IAM systems allow organizations to specify who can access what or which resources in the cloud. IAM enforces permissions, ensuring that only authorized users can view or modify certain data. Now, IAM also allows for role-based access control, or RBAC, where permissions are assigned based on user roles, such as administrator or viewer, or next is encryption. Encryption should or must happen both data in transit and at rest. Encryption is essential for safeguarding data in the cloud. When data is at rest, or when it's stored, or when it is in your, let's say, your database, or when it is in transit, this happens when you retrieve the information coming from your database. Encryption protocols ensure that it remains confidential. Encryption transforms readable data into a coded format, only accessible to those with the correct decryption key. For securing communications in the cloud, public key encryption is widely used. This method utilizes a pair of keys, one public and the other private, to encrypt and decrypt data. Public key encryption is particularly effective for securing data exchanges, ensuring that only authorized parties can interpret sensitive information. Next, among the techniques is MFA, or multi-factor authentication, the one that we discussed a couple of sessions ago. MFA strengthens account security by requiring users to provide additional verification steps, uh, such as fingerprint or a code sent to their phone, SMS, or an authenticator, beyond just a password. This ensures that even if a password is compromised, unauthorized access is still prevented. Uh, Besides that, MFA is critical in the cloud because it significantly reduces the risk of unauthorized access to accounts. By adding an extra layer of verification, MFA helps protect sensitive data and resources from potential intruders who may have gained access to the user credentials. Here are two techniques in endpoint protection for cloud access. First is securing devices and applications. Endpoint protection focuses on securing the devices, such as laptops, smartphones, and other IoT devices, and applications that access cloud resources. By ensuring these access points are secure, organizations prevent potential entry points for attackers. Security measures include using antivirus software, device encryption, and restricting access to only approved applications and users. The other one is endpoint protection for cloud access. Endpoint detection and response tools, EDRs, play a vital role in monitoring and securing endpoints connected to the cloud. These tools detect, analyze, and respond to suspicious activity across devices, helping to identify and isolate potential threats before they can impact cloud resources. EDR solutions also offer real-time insights and alerts, enabling swift actions to secure endpoints and maintain safe connection to the cloud.
Okay. So listed down listed down some of the tools and techniques. Do note that these are just guidelines we've discussed already prior on what MFA, especially some of the techniques. And then because you kept on hearing about data in transit and then data at rest, just to clarify the difference on when data is at rest and when data is in transit. So imagine you have a database. Databases would be a simpler example. Databases would be where you store your information. Now, when you store your information is not being accessed in the database. Your data is at rest at that point. Now, when you have a database client that tries to access the information from the database, the process by which, at least the mechanism by which your information is going out of the database is being accessed by the database. That scenario is when your data is in transit. So just trying in both cases, whether at rest or in transit, you should be encrypting your data. Okay. Any question or clarification relating to tools and techniques? Okay. If there's none, then we'll move on to monitoring and compliance.
In cloud environments, monitoring and compliance are crucial for maintaining a secure and well-managed infrastructure. Cloud monitoring tools provide insights into system performance and security, while compliance ensures that organizations meet industry standards and legal requirements. Together, they help safeguard data, detect potential threats, and establish a secure foundation for operating in the cloud. Uh, for cloud monitoring tools, I've listed two. One is real-time monitoring tools. Cloud providers like AWS, Google Cloud, and Azure offer built-in monitoring tools. For AWS, we have CloudWatch. For Google Cloud or GCP, we have Google Cloud Monitoring. And then for Azure, we have Azure Monitor. They provide real-time insights into system performance, resource utilization, and security. These tools enable organizations to monitor their cloud environment continuously, identifying unusual activity or potential issues before they escalate. The other is Security Information and Event Management, or SIEM. SIEM tools aggregate data from cloud services to detect anomalies, patterns, and suspicious behavior across the cloud environment. They provide a centralized view of security events, making it easier to identify potential threats and take proactive measures. SIEM solutions also generate reports for compliance audits, helping organizations meet regulatory standards while maintaining security. For compliance in the cloud, first, meeting regulatory requirements. Organizations using cloud services must adhere to industry regulations such as GDPR. This is for data privacy, HIPAA for healthcare data, and PCI DSS for payments. Compliance in the cloud requires understanding how these regulations impact data storage, access, and management practices. Cloud provider often offers tools and configurations to assist with compliance, but it is still the organization's responsibility to ensure that their use of cloud resources aligns with these standards. Another in compliance would be the data privacy laws and cloud storage. Data privacy laws govern how personal and sensitive data must be handled in the cloud. It can be stored, who can access it, and how it should be protected. For instance, GDPR has strict data residency requirements, which may influence where organizations store their data to avoid legal issues. Now, next would be cloud audit logs. Cloud audit logs keeps records of all access and activity within the cloud environment. This includes login attempts, data access, and configuration changes. These logs provide a trail of actions that can help identify and trace unauthorized access, misconfigurations, or potential security breaches. Another in cloud audit logs is in the event of a security incident. Cloud audits are essential for forensic investigations. They allow security teams to analyze the specific actions that led to the incident, determining how it occurred, and implement measures to prevent similar occurrences in the future. Audit logs can also serve as documentation for compliance purposes, demonstrating an organization's proactive approach to monitoring and security.
Okay. So listed down some monitoring and compliance mechanisms. Just to reiterate on some of the compliances that we have. GDPR is for data. Mostly this would be Europe, if I'm not mistaken, but emphasis would be on where the data is being stored. So that's GDPR and where and how it's being stored. Second one is in HIPAA. HIPAA mostly is a compliance which is in the US. It's for health organizations and how the data of health organizations are being managed. Now, the last one that you see here is PCI DSS. This one is actually wherever, all over the world. We're in anything related to payments. Whenever you are attaching your credit card information to any website or any application, just be sure that that organization is PCI compliant. Now, the other compliances that you don't see here but are actively being used, we have the ISO compliances and then the SOC compliances. Okay. Any questions related to monitoring or compliance? Okay. If there's none, we'll be moving on to the last section, which is more on the best practices.
Cloud administrators play a critical role in securing cloud environments by following best practices that protect data, limit access, and maintain system resilience. Implementing strong policies, conducting regular assessments, and automating security processes help administrators manage cloud resources efficiently while reducing the risk of breaches and data loss. So I've listed 4 items here, which are considered best practices for administrators. First is the use of principle of least privilege, or POLP. POLP adheres to minimal permissions by granting only the minimum permissions necessary for each user to perform their specific tasks. Administrators can significantly reduce security risk. This approach ensures that sensitive areas of the cloud environment are only accessible to those who need it, limiting potential exposure if an account is compromised. Next of its advantage is its impact reduction. Should an account with limited privileges become compromised, the potential damage is minimized. For example, a compromised account with restricted access won't be able to modify configurations or access critical data, thus protecting other parts of the system. So, if, let's say, for example, you are managing an AWS account, you go to the IM. IM would be where you manage your users, and then you see a number of users who have administrator access. Do note that in most companies, there should be, not most actually, one of the best practices would be only allow a minimum of 2 to 3, I would say, for fail-safe, to have privileged access. If there are more than that, then it's an indication that the specific company or the organization doesn't adhere to the best practices, and then there is a huge potential of when it's susceptible to threats or misconfigurations. Next on the best practices is regular security audits and vulnerability assessments. Regular security audits allow administrators to review cloud configurations and permissions, ensuring they align with security standards and policies. Misconfigurations, such as overly permissive access, can be identified and corrected promptly. Another advantage of doing a regular security audit would be vulnerability remediation. Through regular assessments, administrators can identify potential vulnerabilities in their cloud environment. By addressing these weaknesses proactively, administrators reduce the risk of security incidents and data breaches. One of the other best practice for administrator is automated security management. Tools like Terraform and CloudFormation, we refer to them as infrastructure as code. They enable administrators to define secure cloud configurations as code, making deployment consistent and scalable. This approach reduces the likelihood of configuration errors and allow administrators to apply best practices consistently across cloud environments. So by minimizing manual configurations, most of these misconfigurations, or at least inconsistent application of these configurations. The next one is automated updates. Automated updates. Automating security patches and updates ensure that cloud resources remain up to date without relying solely on manual interventions. Automation minimizes one, human error, and second, it reduces the time spent on maintenance. And third, it helps close security gaps more efficiently. And last, and I would say, yeah, not the least, is data backup and recovery in the cloud. Scheduling regular backups of critical data and verifying recovery methods ensure that data remains available even in the event of data loss or cyber incidents. Testing recovery procedures confirms that backups are effective and accessible when needed. So, having a backup is not enough. You should ensure that whatever backup that you have, you'd be able to recover your platform or your applications from that backup. Uh, the other is redundancy and version control. Using version control for backup copies and leveraging cloud storage redundancy improves data availability. If primary data is affected, administrators can rely on redundant copies or earlier versions to restore data, ensuring minimal disruption. So by adopting these best practices, cloud administrators can protect cloud infrastructure, maintain data security, and create a stable environment that minimizes risks and support organizational resilience.
Okay. So that would be the last section of this session. Are there any questions or clarifications relating to best practices? I mean, this is just a guide. There are a number of other there are a number of other things that you can do whenever you're managing or doing cloud infrastructure administration. At least these are the key ones. Okay. Any? Oh, okay. Good question. How many backup used for securing data? Now, it depends on it would actually depend on what domain you're in. Because let's say, for example, in our case, in my company, we have backups daily on the last 7 days. So each of those backups are unique, and then we don't normally tamper them. We shouldn't be tampering them. So for some companies, they would have a one backup for monthly, a series of backups, the 7 days. And as mentioned earlier, uh, the backups that you have should be encrypted as well. That's when we refer to as uh, in securing data at rest. That's one. And then whenever you have backups, you should be able to restore your entire platform using those backups. The worst case that can happen is if, let's say, for example, you have a backup and then someone hacked into your system and also, for some reason they were able to have access to your backups. Hence, it's important that your backups should only be accessible by either privileged users or, just have them offline. So, how many backups? It depends on the domain that you're in. It depends on the requirements of your company. But at least have a backup of the data from around 24 hours ago. If you're into trading as such, then probably it would be a lot more frequent, one every 6 hours or so. Yeah, depends on the requirements, but at least have one. Thanks for the question. Good one. Any other questions? None? Okay. Then, yeah. Rochelle, all yours.
Hi everyone, thank you for attending the week 6 lecture session. I just want to remind you, don't forget to log your attendance until 7 o'clock p.m. And the quiz for Module 6 is now available in the TrueLine website. Please do answer the quiz before the deadline on Monday, November 18 at 11:59 p.m. Thank you and see you all on Saturday for the week 7 lecture session. Thank you, Sir Mark.
All right. See you then. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Recording stopped.